After my burnout, I felt like, no, I can't do this anymore. I didn't have the energy, so I had to let people down. I couldn't be perfect. I couldn't do everything like I really wanted to do. Then I discovered, like, the thing that keeps recurring is I have to be more angry.
Gitte Briffa is a political scientist, a social worker, and an expert in anger. She's appeared on international stages as a UN youth representative, where she first began asking, why does so much war and conflict exist? That question fueled her lifelong mission to understand the art of being human and how we can live more harmoniously with ourselves and each other. I'm Jeff Newton. Today, we're diving into how to transform everyday anger and frustration into fuel for your mission. Gitte Briffa, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Jeff. I'm really looking forward to this conversation because I really think that if we embrace our emotions and certainly anger, that we will gain so much in life.
Yeah, totally agree. So Gitte, to start us off, tell us a little bit about who you are and who it is you serve, what you do.
So I'm an anger coach, I'm a trainer and a speaker, and I have my own book called Reconnect. It's in Dutch, still only in Dutch right now.
Yeah.
So I give trainings to people how to use their anger, how to communicate better, how to set boundaries, how to show up more in life, how to be present and charismatic and be true, like radical honest. So trainings, and also what I really like to do is I also give throwing, like smets as it's called, like sessions where people can just throw things. And it's therapeutic. It's not only just throwing, it's also feeling and expressing what's not working in life.
Oh yeah.
So I kind of make nice workshops around anger.
Yeah, it sounds like you give people really experiential version of anger too, not just theory.
No, not theory. And because I want to give people a visceral sense of what anger is and how they can use it as fuel in their lives.
Yeah.
So and a lot of people can't feel it. I work with a lot of nice people.
Yeah.
So people that are more in the fawning and being the people pleasers and the nice girls and the good guys. And I want to let them feel in their bodies like, whoa, I have so much fire. I have so much, zest in life.
Yeah.
And then if they can feel it, they can start channeling it. And most of the times they start to get scared of it, like, whoa, that's a lot. And then I help them channel it and that it works for them in their lives. So not only feel it, but also expressing it, using it to make their dream life.
A lot of people have misconceptions about anger, right? We've got opinions. Anger's been destructive in the world. Anger's got a bad reputation, basically. And maybe especially with some caregivers, service givers, light bringers, that kind of thing. So what is it that I guess got you into this topic in the first place? Like, how did you start finding out this other side to anger exists and want to help people channel it into their lives?
I have this tendency of being a people pleaser myself. When I was young, I was raised with sentences like, you can't have your longings. It's in Dutch. I was shaken, like, you can't want things like that. It was in Dutch. I can't translate it well. But I felt like, oh, my longings, what I want, my boundaries don't matter.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like that was something that hurt me and made my expression collapse a bit.
Yeah.
And also I had a burnout because of that people pleasing and always giving what people wanted from me, what they expected from me, or what I thought that they were expecting from me.
Yeah.
So I was kind of burning up of that. And after my burnout, I felt like, no, fuck it, I can't do this anymore. I didn't have the energy, so I had to let people down. I couldn't be perfect. I couldn't do everything like I really wanted to do. So with that less of energy, I had to be, I had to take care of my boundaries more.
Yeah.
So I went to a lot of retreats, a lot of workshops, myself trainings about emotions, about feeling, about expressing. And then I discovered, like, the thing that keeps recurring is I have to be more angry. I have to feel that power. Like, this is me. This is what I want. I don't want this. I want that. So it's super clear. And this, like, this fire and these boundaries help to prevent another burnout.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, for me it was a discovery. Like, oh, anger is really good. And I'm not tall, right? So, and I did my retreats in the Netherlands, and there was this very big guy, and he was like so angry with his family. So he was in a retreat, like yelling, and he was a bear, you know. And I felt welcomed in that energy, and I just stand in front of him and like rah, and I could really match him. And then I discovered, like, wow, there's so much fire in me. I'm not scared of this man. So that was also healing with in mind having like a stepdad that wasn't good for me, and so that was a healing for me. I was like, whoa, I can stand up to this big tall man and with a lot of power. I have a lot of power too.
Yeah.
So it's empowering also.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is important because, of course, a lot of people do struggle with burnout. And a lot of people struggle with the expectations, and like you said, real or imagined. Like they feel burden on their shoulders so much to do. And then, of course, service givers, entrepreneurs, you can always focus on what you haven't done in your business. So that's like kind of torture.
Oh yeah.
You can always focus on how many more people you should serve and please and help, and it didn't help them enough and more.
Yeah.
So there's so much potential for this burnout problem.
Yeah.
But I love what you said too about your strength. Like, we really don't know how strong we are if we don't give space to our anger, to our fire, to this fuel. And when you're describing that for yourself, like it's not a small discovery. You like discovered, okay, this is kind of a core thing. If I don't own this, I'm going to keep slipping back into people pleasing, into burning out. But as you went deeper, you found out, like, I'm not even scared of the things I thought I was afraid of.
Yes.
Like you found a part of you can trust and kind of rest in. And that's really nice. So
it's true. And also working with like a coach, you need to show up. So you need that fire to just stand and be present and be charismatic and on fire and not be so scared. Even for sure online, there's so many comments and haters and then keeping on going and feeling your values and why do I do this work, and that fire can lit up those values in life, so you keep on standing.
Yeah, that's really important. I find as I keep putting myself out there, it's one of the things where if the voice of doubt comes in or imposter syndrome or any of that stuff, I have to return to my values. But if I can't find it, it's usually pretty close to my anger. And then I start finding it again, right? It's that power. And I think resilience is a term you can use for that. Like, it helps make me more resilient. I notice in my business. Whereas if I was just trying to please everybody else, well, A, that's impossible. Yeah. And then I feel like a failure, and that's kind of it. Right? But I can please myself if I remember what my values are. Yeah. I saw in preparing for today's episode that there's quite a bit of research saying exactly what you said, that anger is like really closely related to your values. So if you are angry, it might be a good idea to find out why. And I know you do that work with people. Yeah, so I learned this from Carla McLaren. I really love her. She's like this nerd on emotion topics. And she says that anger, that every emotion has a message and has a lot of information and energy to solve our situation, to deal with the situation we're in. So the emotion is not the problem. The emotion comes up when there is a problem, when there is a challenge or something that asks our attention. Yeah. So what anger asks us, the question of anger, when it pops up, when you feel it, even if it's a bit, you have to start feeling it and nourishing it to feel like, there's something going on. And then you can work with the question, what is a value of mine that is not respected right now? Yeah. And how can it be restored? So a small example, if somebody is too late and you don't like it, and your value is being on time,
then somebody's not on time, you feel like something's coming up, and then you can use that energy that comes up to ask yourself, like, what is not respected here? My time. So then you can say, hey, I don't like it when you arrive at this moment. I wanted you to arrive sooner.
Yes.
So you can work with that. And anger, we think of anger being something very violent and very loud and not taking care of the boundaries of the other person. But actually anger is like a guard. You know those English guards with the big hats on they're standing in front of the castle, right? So they're standing there. They're not fighting with the people that come across looking a bit dangerous. They're not fighting with the village next to them, and they're also not behind the walls.
Yeah. Right.
So they're very quiet, and you feel as a spectator or somebody that wants to see the castle, you feel that you can't mess with the boundaries of the castle. You're like, ooh, that guard is really, it's powerful.
Feel it, yeah.
And he doesn't say any words. He doesn't even move. And you're like, ooh, I'm not gonna touch him. And that's anger. Anger is it's like a lion. Lion doesn't have to do attack every time, but you feel like, oh my god, I don't want to come too close.
Yeah.
We have to watch out. And if you, as a coach, as a person, work with your anger, people will feel your anger boundaries, and they feel they won't mess with you. They will pay their invoices on time. They will take your time serious and stuff like that. So you need to have very good boundaries to show up and to be a very strong coach. And so if you feel the anger coming up, just ask yourself what value is not respected and what needs to be restored.
Love it. And I love that image with the cards too, because they're so it's that quiet power that's inherent in anger that's really doing the boundary work in a clean way, compared to having to have an outburst to try and fight when someone's gone way over your boundary.
Yeah.
Which is sort of more what we're used to, is people exploding or imploding a bit with their anger when things aren't matching their values.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I teach people to be more angry. It sounds so weird to be more angry. Because the more you notice it, the faster you notice it, the more you can do something about it. The more you can communicate, the more you can say, like, next time I don't want that. Or you can start course correct more. Because people can't read your mind, so they don't know if they're crossing your boundary. So if you don't communicate that, because you hold it to yourself, or you don't even feel them, then people can cross your boundaries the whole time.
Yeah.
And you get frustrated, and then bam, you explode or you implode. It goes inside. And that's very, that hurts a lot.
Yeah, that's more destructive, that's more toxic. So it's not that anger's itself is necessarily a problem. It's more like if you aren't working with it, if you aren't listening to it carefully, that voice, if you're not knowing that side of you, then it's always got to go in that direction you just described. It's going to implode or explode.
Yeah. And most of the time, some old pain will come up too. Then, because then the explosion or the implosion will be bigger than the situation.
Yeah, I think we all recognize that.
Yeah, and so this is called trigger tracking, right? An exercise that I give people is to make a list of all the triggers they have. For instance, my mother, when I talk about my work, she starts talking about another subject. So it's like, for me, it's like, ugh. So I can have this 1 time, 2 times, and then a 3rd time I totally explode or I implode. It depends on the situation.
Yeah.
So I let them make a list. Like, when do you explode or when do you implode? What happens? What is the person doing, saying? Or even with a client, sometimes you can disappear, or you can say, like, what are you saying? You have to stay present, So trigger tracking is so important skill. What I invite people to do is to name the whole experience, like what happens when that person says this or looks at you this way, what do you feel? And this cluster of emotions and thoughts, like, yeah, they don't respect me, and I notice my jaw is clenching, and I this like, and then a little part of me feels sad. Then my next question is, where do you know this feeling from?
Yeah.
And then most of the times they go back to their childhood, and it's like, yeah, my mother also, or my father always started another topic when. And so it's so interesting how, yeah, this big explosion or the implosion is even, it hurts the same. There is an old pain there.
Yeah.
And if we learn to dismantle it, to understand it, to feel it, to process it, then we become less reactive. And people think that is anger, but actually that's panic. It's old, it's trauma, it's something old that is frozen in time.
Yeah.
So the more you can unfreeze it, because you feel it, the more present you can stay. And you can still say like, hey, I don't like it that you start another topic.
Yes, but it's not that reactive thing. Coming from the pain.
Yeah, and it takes work, because it's a trigger, so it's so automatic.
Yeah.
But we think that is anger, but it's actually panger, how Carla McLaren calls it.
Panger.
So it's a combination of panic and anger. Old panic, old from trauma from back in the days.
Yes.
And anger saying like, I don't like this, and panic says like, I'm gonna fight, or I'm gonna freeze, or I'm gonna... So that combination makes it destructive.
Yeah, and really messy. You create situations that can be quite hard to clean up.
Yeah.
If your anger is only a triggered reaction that comes out, rather than you know what it's about, and you know the value, for example, that is important to you, and you know how to communicate it clearly, then that's going to be a lot less messy in the sense of how it works out.
True. And you can always heal messiness, of course, with a clearing conversation. So in my courses, I learn people how to do that, like how to be angry in the moment, how to discover what is a trigger and where does it come from, and I was messy, how do I clean it up?
Yes.
So it's never too late, but you have to do the cleaning later on if you made something very messy. But sometimes we're messy because sometimes you discover all of a sudden like, whoa, there's something there. So it's never too late. But that's why I made this book and this course with all the steps, like what do you do in what situation with your anger. Yeah.
We're talking about this relationship between anger and values, and it makes me interested in a bit more of your story, like what your guiding values are in terms of your business. Like, why does your business exist? What got you started with awareness? What are those values that fuel you and that led you here?
So for me, what is very important value is expression. So that people can just express their whole range. Like, not only the powerful side and the fiery side and the clear one and the being beautiful and radiant, but also the other side, like falling apart, being messy, not knowing, crying out loud, just being and complaining and everything. That is like the whole... I use this fan and I open it and I show them like, wow, imagine if you can be this whole fan, this whole area, not only the beautiful and the good and positive, but also the negative. I don't like that word, but the other side that we like to hide. Yeah. And just be everything, So I think that's the most important for me. Yeah. And I was as a child, I was so shy. So I had two sides in me. Yeah. I was like, one side was so shy. And I had to go to the dance class as a child. And my mother said, bye. And I was crying. I was 7 and I couldn't. I was so introverted. Yeah. Yeah, so like just being able to handelingsverlegen, they call it in Dutch. It's like being shy to show up, to say something, to be yourself, to say like, I don't want this or I want that. Just like being shy-ish of this, So I my whole life was about being more expressive. Yeah. And I think I'm still an introvert. I don't like that introvert, extrovert. I don't know what it means. Because I'm both, I can... One day I'm like this and one day I'm like that. And I had to grow also more and extroverted. I wanted to. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's one of my biggest values in this work. And also with awareness, I created this nest for more awareness. So there were different kind of coaches like breathwork and yoga, and there was a lot in that field, not only anger and emotions, so that people could feel themselves more and express themselves more.
Yeah.
So I think that was...
That's what it comes down to, yeah. And I like how thanks for sharing, because I was also a shy kid in a lot of ways. But it depended. Then if we did public speaking in front of the class, I didn't even have something prepared. And I did something spontaneous so well that teacher was like, okay, you're going in front of the school now to do that speech. And I'm like, well, won't be that one again because I didn't prepare one. So I've always had that side somehow.
Yeah.
And then also been really shy. And I also value, like you said, the freedom of self-expression and all of it. Like I want to feel comfortable with all of it. So I personally get it. But it's nice to know where it comes from for you, and that awareness was run on the same fuel of like, hey, there's different paths to getting all of this expression out. When you decided to make this work a priority, because at some point it was like really important, okay, I don't just want to become more self-expressive, but I want to help others become more self-expressive or help others with the anger work. So when you started like really committing to this as a path of service, what was that like for you?
Wow, if you ask that, it feels a long time ago, but it's not. It was 3 years, I think. Yeah. Wow. And that feels long ago, but it's not that long ago, so that's good. It feels like far away.
Yeah.
Well, I got guidance because of you, actually. It started with, I did some months course with you. I don't know how many times, but it was so valuable for me because what helped me was that you helped me create reconnect. Like you said, like what comes back through your whole life? What is
one
your
theme?
Yeah, what's one theme? And it was anger. So I started building around that, and it was amazing. I was like, whoa! So that was clear, super clear. I started with pilots. That was good. Like having a pilot and having friends, like people that I just invited some friends that, and the people that resonated with that theme.
Yes.
With little pitch.
Yes.
Do you want to join for 2 pilots, 2 evenings? And a lot said yes. So I had already a good group. And I was like, whoa, this is something. So I could experiment with people that I feel safe with.
Yeah. But you also wanted it. What a great combination.
Yeah, they wanted it. Yeah, it wasn't about being polite. Right. No, it was, and so I already felt like, oh, something's there. So that was a good test. And then, it's about, I needed some guidance about like coaching of like, am I really gonna do it? How does it look like? I did my 2 pilots. Okay, what does it want? Is it like 6 evenings, 5, 3, only 1? So, and then I started, I get the forum, and then the forum was clear, and I'm like, okay, now I have to make advertisements. Okay. I was very lucky that we have Hipsy in the Netherlands, and it's a ticketing
online
booking system, and then a lot of people found me, so that helped me.
Yeah.
But I'm still a bit like struggling. And sometimes I reach out for coaching again. Like, okay, I have to show up again. I have to go online again, you know, and really show up and really be an authority. So that's also that fire, you know, like that inner, that guard that says like, I know, and I'm gonna tell.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And it's step by step, because then I wrote my book. And
it's a big deal.
It's a big deal because then you really write it down, and it's really black and white, and it's
and it's an incredible book. Like you put like a lot of thought into that. I remember when you first showed it to me, and it was like I got it here, and it was just like every chapter laying out. And you know, from what I've seen of the book and what I can see in the chapters ahead, it's quite thorough. Like you've really put your heart into this.
Yes, and that's why, because I found that theme that goes through my whole life. I was the whole time asking myself, how do we do this human thing?
Yeah.
And then it was about anger. Yeah, that helps a lot.
Yeah.
So I could use everything that I build up in my life, all the theory that I know and everything that helps me.
Yeah.
So everything that's in the book helps me.
Yeah.
And that gives me authority too, because it feels very authentic. It feels, I use it and it works.
Yeah.
And it works. I see it work for other people. So that's I think my advice if you're a coach, like really believe what you do and use it yourself.
Yes.
And that creates this integrity and this feels strong. But it's something else too, and that's my next challenge is, oh my God, to make this marketing. And it's not marketing, I know, because you reframe it and it's like putting yourself out there and being proud of your message and standing clear. And sometimes I still, I struggle with.
All of us.
Yeah. And then I notice that if after coaching or if I just sit down and I start to write, I'm like, I know something.
Yeah.
Even if I wrote the book, it keeps on going, like, I can't say this, or nobody will understand, or this is just a small fraction of my whole story. So I will get haters, because it's a little bit too specific or downsized. So, but I have a friend that is like, for me, he's where I want to be. He's a trainer and he lives the good life, He can live very financially well of trainership. And I told him like, whoa, you're there, man. you arrived. But even him, even after writing several books, he's like, I still have the same, inner critic that is saying like, you can't do this. Nobody understands. It's not clear yet, whatever. And then for me, that's even maybe cognitively, that's like a mirror, like, whoa, I will always have this.
Yeah.
So I have to keep on going because I can't wait until the voice is gone.
It's not going to go.
No, it's not gonna go. And that's why it's nice to do it together, have a peer group or have a coach.
Yeah.
To tackle it because it's so keeping keeping your expression small. So you make that fan bigger again together.
Yeah.
You can't do it alone, or you can, but it takes a lot of effort.
No, it's harder.
It's harder.
Sometimes as it gets better, the voice gets louder.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've heard of this thing called upper limits. Different people give it different names. Christian Pankhurst also said this in Heart IQ. As you approach what you want, everything unlike it comes up. And so sometimes it's getting better and it's like, hey, more people like me, and you're like, no one likes me, this is so embarrassing. Like, it can be whatever. Almost anything can become fuel for that critic to speak up. So for me, I do find actually anger, your work, is a really important range of emotion to get access to, because you can actually a little bit fight back, because for me, honestly, it just gets annoying after a while, that voice, although I just get a bit pissed off. Yeah. And then it's a good thing. There's other people going through this, and when we do it together, it's a lot more fun. So I'm right with you there.
Yeah.
So you've been, for at least the past 3 years, and you've been putting a little bit of your message out there. And so from that side of things, are there some things you've learned that are like really challenging, or maybe you learned something through the challenge of, okay, that didn't work, but this seems to work better, so that, all of us can learn from it as we might put ourselves out there, or any of the people at home that might put themselves out there as well?
Yeah. Yeah, your previous response to my question was inspiring. I think maybe I can include it now, is that how important shadow work is. My frustration towards another person, like envy and be like, why can they do it and I can't? Using that frustration, that envy, can work to integrate it a bit more too. Yeah. So why can they just show up, and why can they sell so many courses and use that person as a shadow a bit? Like, what is so irritating about that person? Yeah. And playing that person a bit more. Like, what is good about being this person? Yeah. And then exaggerating it. And it's like, I have it in my book too. It's like sacred theater. You use what you hate in the other, you can use that as fuel. So all the other coaches or people that sell things, you can use that as fuel to be better at your work. So I remember in our coaching also that you said, like, what do you think is irritating, or what is that in that person? What does he say or do?
Yeah.
And then can you become a bit more of that? What is the quality? Can you own that quality a bit more? And then we play with it. And then what the quality that I had to own more is of selling, like being a marketeer.
Yeah.
Saying like, I have a very good course. You have to come. It's very good.
Yeah.
And you make it big, and it's a thing like, wow, everybody will puke. But then having that part in yourself activated can make it easier to write a message or to express yourself on the camera more, because it's not a shadow anymore. It's not like, I can't be a seller, or I don't want to be too smooth, I don't want to be sleazy and that people think like, ugh. But it's true, if you embody a bit more of what you're
resisting, or what you don't like seeing out there,
you become better at being being a better coach.
It's a really good one, and I keep having to do it because I keep noticing that there will always be someone I'm jealous of or maybe critical of. So it's really cool to notice, hey, what about that is maybe would be an advantage in my life if I was giving myself more permission to be like that. Maybe it'd come with some bad stuff, and that's why I don't want to be like that. But so don't be exactly like that, but just a little bit more permission, like you said, because it's you and so many people out there have something really great that people actually need, but feel sleazy if you say this is great and you need it. And so actually becoming more of the sleazy salesperson is just enough to get you to the point where you're in integrity and you're going, no, it's true, I have something great that I think the right person needs.
Yeah.
And so that's what's really nice is to see the right people finding you, because the people I've seen video from your workshops and stuff, and heard about people commenting on your posts, and they're really loving the work they get to do with you. So it'd be a shame to hide that. Yeah,
so that's my next invitation, to show up more and more and more, and but it takes some time.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked about this a lot from the perspective of how it helps us as entrepreneurs to really turn this anger and frustration into a mission, into purpose, into fuel, and more, really a superpower. But what if someone is thinking about this from a perspective of, hey, maybe this is something I need to work on myself? How would they actually know that they need this kind of support?
I think this kind of support is necessary if you pretend a lot. So you're not really authentic, you're not saying what you want. If it's difficult for you to say, I like this, or I don't like this, I want this, I don't want this, hey, this hurts. So if it's difficult to speak like a child, I say, it's like if you can't speak this clearly, if you tend to please other people, if you tend to implode and it's difficult to express yourself, if you tend to go crossing your boundaries and living through the expectations of others, and things like that. It's like, if it's difficult for you to stay close to yourself and express what you need, what you want, what you don't want, what you feel, what you think, then anger work is really good. You know, if anger is not allowed, if your parents, if parents are very aggressive on the one hand, or very harmonious, they only want peace and love, then it's difficult to channel anger or to feel it, because it's like, it wasn't never taught how to do it well, or you decide like, I'm not going to be aggressive as my parents, so then it gets stuck away. It becomes a shadow. So learning how to channel it helps a lot. And if you want to learn that, learn to feel it again, to learn to express it again, and not feel the empathy, the apathy, like feeling numb. That's also important. If anger is not allowed, we suppress it, and then we feel numb, depressed, nothing, black. It's very... there's not a lot of fire there. So if you want to feel more, then it's also good for you.
Are there any last thoughts you want to leave with us for this conversation that we just had?
Yeah, what I want to say in the end is that if you can't feel anger or you can't feel a lot, you're not broken. Because a lot of people feel like, I can't do this, it's too much, and I can't grab it or I can't feel it. That's why I work with people. They will feel it in the end, so that it really works. But you're not broken, and people get to think very badly of themselves. So I want to say, if you feel this, nothing's wrong, nothing's fixed. If your fan is closer and your expression is really small, that's totally okay. I like to use the metaphor of a bottle. It's not a very sexy metaphor, but it works. Like a plastic bottle. If it gets hurt or something happens, it gets a dent. Yeah. And a lot of dents can happen. If something really bad happens in life, you get a smack every time you say you want something, or every time you get angry, or you raise your voice, or you're very enthusiastic, you get a reaction, or you get ignored. Mm-hmm. Then a dent comes in, but the bottle is not broken.
Right.
There is not a lot of water in the end in the bottle, but there's still a bottle. Yeah. And what we do with firework, with reconnect, is we blow a lot of air in the bottle, and then it goes back in its normal
original form.
Original
more capacity.
Form. More capacity. So that's why we sometimes raise our voice and then we shout on music, or we do some anger work with, like, you put your father and your mother on a chair. You imagine, and then you yell at them a lot. So because then the dents go out, and it really works. So you're not broken, but you need a bit of some fire to become more visible again.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Gitte, thank you so much. If anyone wants to work with you or find out more about the work you do, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, so I have a website, reconnect.com. Okay. It's in Dutch. And I'm thinking about offering also English workshops, because I had some questions about that.
Yeah.
So you can find it on reconnect.com.
I'll put it on the screen and in the show notes.
Yes, and there you find all the workshops and also the link to the book if you want to buy it.
Perfect. And that's this book. Yeah. Currently only in Dutch, and maybe one day in English, we don't know. But a wonderful book.
Yeah.
And you work with people both online and in person, right?
Yes.
Okay. And if they want to follow you online, where's the best place to do that?
So I post on LinkedIn and also on Instagram. On LinkedIn, it's my name, Gitte Briffa. And on Instagram, it's WK_reconnect.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for being here. I've wanted to do this so long because I love your work. I love who you are. I love how you show up. And it's great to have you share it with other entrepreneurs, because you get it. You're one of us. But also because it is a struggle that a lot of entrepreneurs have and a lot of caregivers have. And it's something we really need, this message of healthily embracing our anger and our fire. So just thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for this stage. Thank you.
Very welcome. And thank you so much for joining us today. If you got something out of this, please let me know. You can DM me over on Instagram at It's Jeff Newton, or you can find more episodes on YouTube. And if you're a coach or healer and you have something to contribute to this conversation on leadership, please reach out to me over on Instagram, because you might just be a perfect fit. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next episode.